Hey, how's it going, everybody? And welcome back to Lead Therapy, and thank you so very much for taking time for tuning in to my video. The U.S. House of Representatives have set their sights on destroying the American firearms industry. Apparently, banning many of the most popular firearms in America is not enough for the anti-gun leadership in the United States House of Representatives. The House Judiciary Committee announced that on Wednesday, which is today, not only would it mark up H.R. 1808, which would ban many common semi-automatic firearms, but it will also consider H.R. 2814. H.R. 2814, originally sponsored by Representative Adam Schiff, a Democrat from California, would completely repeal the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, also known as the PLCAA, and would make firearm trace data maintained by the ATF available to the public. The PLCAA was enacted in 2005 with broad bipartisan support to protect the firearms industry from frivolous and politically motivated lawsuits. In the mid-1990s, gun control advocates, big city politicians, and trial attorneys teamed up in an attempt to use the courts to sue the gun industry for millions and force them to agree to gun control measures that gun control supporters were unable to enact in Congress. The suits sought to hold members of the industry liable for behavior of those who misused their products. These suits, though they were of little merit, posed a grave threat to the industry and in turn American gun owners. In 1998, the executive director of the anti-gun U.S. Conference of Mayors was quoted by the New York Times as stating, "The lawyers are seeing green on this issue. They think they can bring the gun industry to its knees." One of the attorneys seeing green, John Cole, was quoted in a 2000 Washington Post article, remarking the legal fees alone are enough to bankrupt the industry. The PLCAA merely prohibits lawsuits against the gun industry for the criminal use of their products by a third party. Suits against the industry for knowingly unlawful sales, negligent entrustment, and those predicated on traditional product liability grounds are still permitted, while it is often described as providing extraordinary immunity to the firearms industry. In fact, the PLCAA merely protects the firearm industry from attacks to attempt to expose it to extraordinary liability. Make no mistake, I repeat, make no mistake, the only reason to seek the repeal the PLCAA is to destroy the American firearm industry, and with it, the right to keep and bear arms. Adam Schiff takes the attack on the firearm industry even further with his legislation, seeking to allow the use of gun trace information in civil proceedings. The problem with this is, as Schiff knows, such trace information is relatively useless for legitimate civil actions and would be used for merely inflammatory and political purposes. The ATF has long cautioned on its tracing reports that not all firearms used in crimes are traced, and not all firearms that are traced are used in a crime. The firearms selected for tracing don't constitute a random sample and should not be considered representative of the larger universe of all firearms used by criminals. While H.R. 2814 only has 64 co-sponsors at this time, the mere fact that such extreme legislation is even being considered shows how far current House leadership would like to go in its war against the Second Amendment. As always, let me know your thoughts about the story in the comment section down below. After watching the video, if you would like, share, and subscribe, and hit those post notifications, and I will see you guys in the next video.